Hey beautiful people, welcome to the Progressive. So this presentation will be dealing with subjective and objective behaviors. What do you mean by subjective? Being subjective about something. And what do you mean by being objective? Do you know the difference? And do you know when to apply what in your workplace? Find out more. Keep watching.
Now let's talk about subjective and objective behaviors. This will be brief, but the implications are extensive, very, very extensive. What do I mean by subjective and objective behaviors? We'll skip to, well, we are on the second last. Good, very good. So, what is subjective and objective behavior? Being subjective means having an attitude which is based on person's feelings, tastes, or personal opinions. I'm going to read this because this is an important distinction. Since humans work with each other in any organization, subjective behavior is commonplace. Conversing about what one likes and dislikes, what one feels good about or bad about, what one considers right and wrong is common. All subjective behaviors are human, relative, and judgments. They are valuable in having an understanding of how a particular human feels about certain kinds of things, relating to one another in workplace. Humans relate to one another. That's why we have relationships. Subjective behavior should never be applied in professional evaluation or creating separation or barriers between humans at workplace. This is a recipe for disaster if you do this. And in my experience of 30 years, I have seen HR regularly does this. It creates separation among human beings rather than bringing them together. They hardly fulfill the HR function anyway. Being objective means having an attitude which is not based on person's feelings, but rather about facts, figures, options, processes, procedures, etc. Since humans are the workforce of any organization and have to produce goods or services as a collective, it is imperative that they work objectively at the discipline level using their hard skills, so tasks are accomplished. Objective behavior is application of reason, logic, skills to accomplish a task, not a matter of personal attributes. It's not about feeling anymore. Objectivity is stepping away from feeling and focusing on what's required, the task at hand. Objectivity is valuable only in regards to your discipline skills, work to be accomplished as a team, and how best to accomplish it with ease and accuracy and quality, be it production of goods or services. Objective behavior should never be applied when dealing with humans. So one is human related, subjective. One is objective, being task related. Separating, last one is crucial. Separating when to be subjective and or objective is the key to working with ease with other humans and yet accomplishing tasks within the schedule and with high quality. Again, this comes to subconscious patterns, and you'll have to see the app and work the app. I'm going to shortly release an app on iOS and Android, as well as for Mac and PC, to evaluate your own tendency to have subjective or objective behaviors. Each one has tendencies, each one has subconscious patterns. So this questionnaire, a set of questionnaires, will help you evaluate your innate tendency. It's innate. You can always change it, obviously. But first step from ignorance to wisdom is to know where you are, where you are standing, and then only you can plan where you need to go. So that app will help you. Anyway, we are just covering the topic here. This is not the app, so we'll not go into too much detail. Let's just summarize. Points to ponder: subjectivity and objectivity. There are two things one deals with at an organization: people and work. When dealing with people, use subjectivity, since humans are essentially emotional beings and translate everything in terms of feeling. You feel good about your work, you feel bad about your work, you're stressed. Stress means just an emotional overload. Use objectivity to deal with work. I need to get such and such done, and I've got this much time. Planning, execution, what we talked about earlier. And what we are going to talk about more in modules to come. Being emotionally attached to work or being cold and calculative about people, which is the reverse of the above, does not help, as they are unmatched and often leads to unnecessary stress and being isolated by your peers at work and often at an unhappy day-to-day experience. Like I said, in these modules we are focusing on your day-to-day experience, for there is no such thing as career. It's just a dumb word. What you're living is day to day, not a career, not the retirement. Okay, you're living every day, every single day you get up. Do you brush your teeth at the end of your career in retirement? No, you do it daily. This is something like that. Being subjective and objective is a dynamic selection one will make at a workplace. So you selectively shift every second. Since humans are complex beings and often will overlap the two, become emotional about targets or goals and ignoring the human aspect of it. This creates an issue. Reflect deeply on this, it creates a lot of issue for you daily. Trust me, it does. When a human being is talking to you, do you get subjective or objective about him or her? It makes a lot of difference in your day-to-day work. And you can, when the app comes out, you can download that app. I shall make it free per person, only at a corporate level. It will be useful for corporate individuals everywhere. It will be helpful for parents as children. It will be helpful for understanding your peers. It will be helpful for organizations to understand what their employees are like and to use them best. Alright, enough of that.